9-year-old Emily Saville's life changed completely when she contracted COVID. She lost her ability to walk in minutes and now lives with the effects of long COVID.
Yeah, but Emily's been determined to walk again and she's raised thousands of pounds for the NHS. Today, she's going to Downing Street to call for more support for children who have long COVID. Emily's here with her mum, Louise, her favourite author and long COVID kids ambassador, and, of course, someone we've talked to a lot about, Michael Rosen, and Dr Amir on the end of the sofa there as well. It's lovely to have you all with us. Emily, thank you so much for coming in. Look, it's incredible what you've managed to do. £7,000 you have raised so far. How have you been doing it?
I've been walking laps around my garden.
Wow.
Because when I was in hospital, the NHS did so much for me. I just wanted to pay them back in any way I could.
And lots of people have spotted you doing this, and they've been donating money and sponsoring you to do more and more.
Keep going.
How hard is it, and how hard have you found it to try and learn to walk again, Emily?
It's been really hard, but there have been loads of people supporting me, so that's just given me the extra boost I need to...
Well, look, I mean, Emily, you're obviously brilliant. You've got an amazing spirit and you're doing brilliantly with your walking mum. I mean, this must have been a terrifying moment because it came from nowhere, didn't it? Tell us what happened.
So Emily contracted COVID at the beginning of September. She had the usual symptoms, just cough, cold sort of thing. But 3 days in, lost completely the ability in seconds to walk. And she was in excruciating pain to the point where she couldn't move at all. We had to carry her to the bathroom. We had to do everything for her, dress her, everything. It was just all of a sudden. We were under the impression that after 10 days, this was COVID and we would get over it. But we are now in month 8 and we're still obviously where we are right now and fighting.
I mean, when you were talking before, Michael, you immediately welled up with the extraordinary nature of it. And one of the hardest things for you has been not just witnessing your youngster going through this, but also the lack of explanation. It's still unknown why Emily's mobility has been affected in this way.
The hospital were brilliant. They did so many tests. They were checking for all sorts of horrendous things that we were at the time.
Things like little strokes, which we know COVID can cause, but fortunately not
cancer, all those sorts of things, everything. And fortunately, there wasn't anything shown. But, yes, she's just been left now relearning to walk and trying to fight where, she's lost the ability.
And she's an incredibly inspiring young person, Michael, of course. You're her favourite author, and I know that your book about your learning to walk, which you've got with us, that you brought in, has been hugely important. And I think that when you see what Emily's been through, you can identify with so much of those challenges because COVID affected you and long COVID continues to.
Totally. I mean, just seeing Emily walking before, and I remembered my physiotherapist, NHS physiotherapist, occupational therapist, teaching me to walk. And it was wonderful seeing you there. I shared my secret that I got from the bed to the toilet by singing M People, Heather Small, Search for the Hero Inside Yourself. I congratulate myself on thinking maybe I'm the only person in the world who got to the loo singing Search for... No, I'm not going to sing it, don't worry.
But it's finding something to get you to do through something that's so natural. I think you were one of the first people, before there was the term long COVID, so established it is now, to talk about the long tail of COVID. I think you could be the originator of the phrase, Michael.
You coined that phrase, which we still use. You coined that phrase.
And what we know now, Dr Amir, is that is there 1.5 million now youngsters with long COVID?
Yeah.
And still no real explanation of what long COVID is and why it affects so many different parts of the body.
No, we don't know. There's some theories. We think it might be viral particles or proteins left behind that the immune system is responding to. It could be the immune system itself that's over-responded and attacked different parts of the body. I think what's important here is that COVID is not the run-of-the-mill respiratory virus. It's a multi-system, multi-organ, really serious infection, and it's still out there. And the BA2 subvariant of Omicron is causing this huge wave in infections right now. It's affecting children. Many of them will go on to get long COVID.
Because we are told, and we have been told, and this version of COVID is supposed to be does less damage and maybe more infectious, but does less damage. But we're always told, or we seemingly, that the children should be OK. They might get it, but they should be able to bounce back.
The vast majority of them will, but the virus is unpredictable and we don't know which children will bounce back and which ones will go on to get long COVID, which is why it's so important that we prevent children from getting COVID in the first place. And I've said this, for you know what I'm going to say. Clean air in schools is so important. We need to prevent kids from getting COVID at all. That's the key here. And, you know, when we knew about cholera, we cleaned up our water systems. When we knew about salmonella, we changed the way we handle food. We now know about a really serious airborne disease. We need to clean our indoor air.
Wouldn't that be a great legacy of COVID if that came in for schools forever and for the future, rather than all the awful legacies that we're living with? Emily, what's next for you? You're clearly a superstar, raising massive amounts of money. Are you going to stop here?
No, I'm going to... Well, I'm going to keep on doing my laps until I can do a whole lap unaided.
Right.
So a whole lap walking without anything at all.
Yeah.
What's it like when you have to walk? Because I'm sure you've done a couple of steps without your aids. How difficult is that for you, Emily?
It just takes up a load of concentration, and you can't... It's just...
Really tiring.
Yeah.
Really tiring.
Yeah.
And of course, you see Emily and you want her to be doing what every 9-year-old doing, running around the playground with her friends, just enjoying her life. It must be so difficult for you, especially when you hear people talking about COVID and dismissing COVID and even long COVID.
Yeah, it is really difficult. And now all the mitigations have got, all the legal requirements have gone. It is really difficult because obviously Emily caught COVID from someone who it didn't affect. And were fine with it, whereas Emily has now been left with this huge legacy of having to now relearn to walk, but she's made such a positive out of it. And right at the beginning, we had no support. We were felt very alone, and we were really lucky to find the Long COVID Kids group, who have now presented this pack here, which is the new support pack, which is why we're going to Downing Street later, to give information to all the parents, to schools, to professionals, just to help them know and be able to support like families like us, because 8 months ago we were very much, or were we the only family going through this? And it wasn't until we were signposted to the Long COVID Kids Facebook groups and websites that we realised that actually we're not alone. And now I think there's 119,000 children who have had COVID symptoms for 4 weeks or more in England. So it is huge. But we are super proud of Emily and all she's done.
Absolutely, and that's a vital piece of document you've got there. Very important. Yeah, very important indeed. Look, wonderful to speak to all of you.
Thank you so much
Michael,
for having
can we
me.
just ask how you're doing since we last saw you?
The eye and the ear, neither of them really work properly. I sometimes get it muddled and say I can't see with my ear, but can you deal with that?
I'll sort you out.
Sort that.
He's got magic hands.
I might get some sight back in my ear, so we can only hope.
My mum always says to me, I can't hear, let me put my glasses on.
Yeah.
She says that all the time.
That's right.
Is your lip reading?
Yeah.
And you speak with a funny colour, I've
do.
heard as well. That's right, I've heard that one. Can I give a book to Emily?
Please do.
So this is called Rigatoni the Pasta Cat. And I wrote it in my head when I was lying in hospital. And then I came out of hospital and it's about a cat that loves pasta but can't get pasta. And I think it's secretly about me lying in bed in hospital wanting hummus. They didn't bring me hummus. So anyway, but never mind the hummus. There we are. That's for you, Emily.
So much. Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you all so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with your continuing battle. You'll get that lap and continue to raise loads of money. We'll put all the details of your Just Giving page on our website. So if people at home and you want to support and donate to Emily's Just Giving page, it's an amazing cause and she's doing an incredible thing. We'd love you to raise as much money as you possibly can.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.